So, Coach, just initial thoughts heading into the season. How's that offseason been leading up to today? How have the freshmen been stepping up, the seniors mixed in? How's that all going?
It's been great summer season, summer training. We were able to have a lot of these freshmen join us for that. Probably the biggest jump and thing that I've seen is kind of this. When I say senior leadership, I don't necessarily mean our seniors, but our older group of guys really stepping up. Really a different level out of them, kind of a different focus, a different maybe expectation. I see out of them every single day. And then through that freshman class came in, and they've been great because they have been challenging every one of those guys, So I would say the level of the room just day to day has gone up, 20 notches in my head, to where I'm sitting and I'm watching practice and, the fur's flying and there's scraps everywhere. There aren't guys conceding and putting their head on the mat and stuff. So to me, that's really exciting, because that's the sort of environment that it takes for guys to really start jumping levels, Whether you're a guy that's been around here for 3 years or whether you're first guy in the room, you got to have your teammates pushing you. So that's been fun and exciting.
So Coach said the freshman class kind of, evolved into what it is now, and he didn't necessarily expect it to be what it is. How have you seen it? What's the process been like for you, being someone who's been, the one recruiting these guys, to getting to where you guys are now? You're in the room. You have, I think it's the 2 freshmen in the starting lineup as of right now.
Yeah, nothing's necessarily set as who's the starting lineup, but you can kind of project who might be the guy. I think the coolest thing is that they are a tight group of guys. We're talking about the freshmen, group of guys, a group of guys that holds each other accountable. You can see by just kind of the way they interact in the room, they're expecting each other, to win. They're expecting each other to hold a certain standard, and that's really exciting for me because that's reminiscent some of my own memories, with the group of guys. I call them my friends, but they were my teammates, my friends, and how it was a really super competitive environment, but we were best friends, And every day was, hey, how many takedowns did you score today? I scored 30. Did you score 30? No? Well, step it up. I see that dynamic between them, where they can hold each other accountable because they're all their goals are high, So, yeah, it's been a really good group. And as far as, I guess you never really know what you got. You never know what you got till you get them in the room and you start watching them. And then you never know what you got till you start letting them compete, too. So that'll be kind of the next thing that we'll get to watch and see how that shakes out. But, yeah, it's been really, really good. And like I said earlier, I think the older group of guys have kind of caught on to what's going on, and they're stepping up. So that's just really fun.
How have you seen the guys from last season, like Tarakina, Skylar, Ramazan, those guys? How have you seen them respond after having maybe not the finish they had imagined in their head?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think this is probably normal for most people to go through this process, is that you go through and you have a certain expectation at the NCAA tournament, but maybe you're not really quite sure. I think we saw Marcus Coleman, right? I think he talked about this the year before, right? Where you're not really sure, but you know you want it, and you get there and you fall short, but when you fall short, it's like, you know what? Like, I was pretty darn close. And you actually come into the next year with even more belief. It's like, hey, I was there. Like, I can actually do the things I want to do. And that's kind of what I see out of those guys, is that they come and there's a little bit more confidence and swagger with them, where it's like, hey, I've been there and I felt, I didn't have the success I wanted, but I know what it feels like. And I know now going into it, that I can do that. So that's kind of what I hope out of them, and what I think I'm seeing out of them is a different swagger, different like, hey, I know what it takes to get there, and I'm going to start right now, get to work on it,
What's the process been like for you, seeing David, end the season the way he did, and, he's leaving for Spain soon?
Yeah.
How have you seen him really bounce back and learn from maybe some of those mistakes he made?
I think he handled it the best way that you could, right? To me, I've always thought you got kind of 2 options. You can let it destroy you, and you can think I suck, and you can pout about it, or you can just get back to work. And that's what he did. I always tease him about having a memory like a goldfish, right? My old soccer coach there, okay? Have a memory like a goldfish, and he did a really good job of that. It's just on to the next thing. You can't control what had happened at the NCAA tournament, right? You finished off good. What's the next thing, right? That's what we can control is the next thing in front of us. And he's done a really good job of that, and you can tell with just his attitude and his positivity that he's not going to be the one to dwell on things, right? But guys can, and that can hurt you. So he's done a good job of that. He's putting himself in position to go contend for another world title, which is exciting,
So I'll ask you one more question. So Coach said, you're going into your 6th year of coaching together, and then David's saying things like he feels the program has finally gotten to a place where guys like the freshmen can come in and know there's hopes to be All-Americans, to get on the podium. What does it feel like for you to look back and really just see how far you guys have come and, how much farther you can go?
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you said the extra part, because there's still a lot farther ways to go. There's no way are we feeling satisfied of where we're at right now. But it makes me grateful to have gone through the process, Not that we're anywhere close to where we want to be, but there has been a change. There has been, like I said earlier, just sitting in the room and seeing the excitement of this team. It is a different level, So to me, I'm grateful that I went through that, to see that process and what it took to get here. And then looking ahead, saying, this is me as a coach challenging myself, like, hey, we got that much more work to put in to get to where we really want to go, right? Which is the top of the mountain, right? So, no, it's been good. It's been valuable.